بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسول الكريم سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. إذا لم تستحي فاصنع ما شئت. When a person does not have morality, if they have no shame, then they will do as they wish. So the covering which a woman has shows a strength, not her weakness. The strength to obey Allah's commands, the strength to stand for haqq, and the strength in her covering she is exposing shaitan. So they say in the Stone Age man was devoid of clothing. When intellect came in, they started wearing clothing, and when all intellect was lost, they started losing their clothing. And when they lose their clothing, they're going back to the Stone Age where man was devoid of clothing. So Battal presumes that their progress is in removing the clothing, but they are going backwards. So a person who adorns the garb of Sunnah has adorned the Quran, where we are living in this era and this time, in a world where nothing is a secret. But what secret do these veiled women possess? Everything is exposed, but the veiled women own the real secrets. So don't lose others for Allah, rather lose others for Allah. So a person feels that through my exposure I will gain publicity, I will gain people. Don't lose Allah for others, rather lose others for Allah. So the concealment that is outside is a sign of beauty inside. So we shouldn't let it be that we are in this world, and when a pearl develops, it develops best in an oyster. It develops best in an oyster. So that covering is a protection and a preservation for a very valuable commodity. And when the time is right and the place is right, that commodity will be displayed. So Allah has kept permissibility for the women to display their beauty, for their men folk in halal places. So we shouldn't be caught up in this wave. They say, do you want to be a Khadatian or Khadijian? So priority. Aminu kama amanan nas. The target, the basis, the foundation, the priority, how Sahaba had set a standard. Is that our standard, or what Battal has promoted? A cover up that goes to the heavens, which Allah is pleased with. This is a cover up which Allah is pleased with. Other cover ups, a person does a cover up for wrongs. This is a cover up which Allah is pleased with. So do I really want to be in Allah's book or people's book, Facebook? Opening yourself to Instagram is closing a lot of doors to Allah. So we go on these platforms and we display. So it is an exposure and it is a risk. Do you show your face, or is your face for show? And when it comes to Islam, then that is oppression. A nun is a religious progression and profession, but a veiled Muslimah is oppression, na'udhu billah. So the fashion that will never go out of fashion is the fashion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Follow him, follow him, follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, liked by Allah, liked by the angels, liked by many, followed by billions, yet not a single picture or video of him sallallahu alaihi wasallam the earth has never seen, and will never see. And if you are a proud follower of this Nabi, then you will follow every step. So we have to learn to draw the line in the awamir, the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Draw the line when it comes to your veil. So does what people say bother me, or what Allah says? وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَا, and don't just do this tabarruj, like the time of ignorance, when they go out of their homes walking in a shameless, flirtatious manner. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forbidden that, this tabarruj of jahiliyyah, and this is preservation. It protects the masturat, the women of this ummah, from being exploited and being used as marketing tools. So Islam has given women honor and dignity. Before Islam, they were not slaves, they were treated worse than slaves, worse than animals. Women were considered material possessions. And if a person had a debt and he passed away, death, his creditor would take his wife as a reparation, as a recompensation. So female children were born alive, and Nabi alayhi salam encouraged khiyarukum linisaikum, to show respect, to show honor. But if you want to be honored, the men are commanded to show honor and respect. But you cannot respect Allah's command. And nowadays, in the name of hijab, saying hijab, see, they've said hijab is the scarf outside and niqab is covering the face. But that is a command of Allah. It is a amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we had haya, it would be sufficient. We do not know, we didn't need to be encouraged. Modesty itself will motivate a person. The climax of a woman of beauty is the face. So when we forsake the commands of Allah, we forsaken the nusrat and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every command of Allah is clear as the sun, and it's for our preservation and our protection, not our destruction. So we shouldn't get overwhelmed by the propaganda of the Western way, the Western style, the Western outlook. Otherwise, people who have followed their ways, their kids have become orphans. Their mother is working, father is working, and they don't see the kids, and they left at daycare centers, they left. Their parents are nannies, their parents are the cartoons and the televisions and the cell phones of the time. So they're orphans really, and they've been adopted by these evil platforms. The wives have become widows, they've lost their husbands. The men folk are living double lives with their sectaries, strangers, etc. Women have lost their femininity, and they want to become like men, and this causes a collapse in the family structure. And since the women folk are out, they become easy prey, easy predators. So husband's having his affair, the wife is having her affair. It's a disastrous affair. They like a family, but there's no family, there's no relationship, there's no love, there's no affiliation, there's no communication. Got all the wealth in the world, but their life is hell. There's no contentment. They're going on those fancy holidays, but they've got no enjoyment, because Allah has snatched the peace and the tranquility and all that Allah has kept in this world, hayaat and tayyibah, is gone. So they have the worldly pleasures but no happiness. They've got all the clothing but no covering. They've got all the money but no tawakkul and reliance. They've got all the luxuries but they are so ungrateful. They've got all the medication but no health. They've got all the assistance, aid, workers but no help of Allah. They've got all the big bonuses, big salaries but more stingy, less generosity. They've got more numbers but less unity, more shopping but no stopping, more bigger homes but less accommodation, smaller hearts. They've got more amenities but no humanity, more universities but less khidmah. So they get in all these professions to serve themselves, to increase their bank balance, to serve the makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. More intellectuals, less solutions, more libraries, less knowledge, more of everything but really nothing. So I need to judge myself before the grand judge judges me. Am I part of this plan of Iblis, of destruction, or am I the plan of Allah Rabbul Alameen? So evaluate and see which direction am I going to, where's my end game, where's my end destination. إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِ. This modesty and the shame should overwhelm us. Hafsah Bint Sireen rahmatullah alayha, the narrator say, would go to her for dars, and she would use her jilbab and she would cover her face with the niqab. And she was till her elderly age, an extreme age where there is some gunjaish and leeway. So she was a muhadditha. So the student said to her, وَالْقَوَاعِدُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. An elderly woman who has passed the prospect of marriage, and there is no blame and there's no risk and there's no possibility of fitna, that they are allowed in this. It's an exception. So they were like telling her that there's no need for the niqab now, at least keep your face open. So she asked them, what does the Quran say? Did you really read the Quran? That khayrul lahunna, what's better for them? That Quran says after that, if they choose chastity, that is best for them. So I will still cover myself with the niqab. So they're separated as hijab and niqab, and they're promoting the hijab and World Hijab Day. And look at the contrast. Yeah, she's a muhadditha, she's transmitting deen and knowledge, and they're doing amal khair, but they preserve their chastity. Nowadays, even in the name of Islam, we have female scholars in front of the stage, in front of the bright lights, in the company of strange men, attractively dressed and adorned in make-up and a showcasing, and it's been streamed worldwide for strange men to view. Is this the legacy which Nabi alayhi salam had left? No, not at all, not at all. See, deen has stipulated the laws. So there were many muhaddithas of the ummah, muhaddithat, who propagated deen. Aisha radiallahu anha, how much of deen came from her? But they drew the line, they drew the line, they drew the niqab, they drew the curtain. Some people say, no, you know what, my heart is clean, I don't feel anything. So you're more pious than Sahaba and the Tabi'een. So in the name of modernism and feminism and all these fancy titles, where have we compromised? So World Hijab Day, Nazma Khan, they say she faced discrimination due to her hijab, and 2013 started the World Hijab Day to fight this discrimination. How nice it sounds, how beautiful. I'm fighting discrimination against the hijab, bigotry and the prejudice against women. You're not ready to fight for the command of Allah. Somebody looked down upon the hijab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is Allah happy with you? The makhluk's happiness or sadness, is that a priority? So now, on this day, 1st of February, 150 countries take part, and a part of this World Hijab Day celebration. So, but obviously Battal, when they see an opportunity and they want to promote the darkness, then they will promote you as well. So when it came to Afghanistan, then those mothers that gave birth to the men who have made the graveyards of empires fall, such great empires fell on the feet of these men. These were the mothers. In their name they say in oppression, etc. Na'udhu billah. So they've promoted her here. If you look at Nazma's profile, from Meta, Facebook, to the New York Times, BBC, CNN, The Times, Irish Times, Washington Times, Glamour, Elle, Vogue, Cosmopolitan. So where will it end? And when it is promoted, she is promoting the hijab, but she's promoting everything else that comes with it. You can dress how you want in public and mix with strangers, and your face can be exposed. There's nothing wrong if you don't wear the niqab, and strange men can see you, and you create lust in strangers. So this is open fisq and fujur, and if we have to really think about it, then, and just use logic and ponder about it, that this whole activity is supposed to raise awareness of hijab, but it's actually promoted by hijabi. So it's promoted breaking Allah's commands. So in a simple nutshell, World Hijab Day is a day where women get together, they expose themselves to the world, all in the name of hijab, all in the name of hijab. And these women take pictures of themselves with their hijabs. So that's one, tasweer, picture making. They don't have the niqab on, because then who are you and who's promoting this? So how are you going to show off your hijab with a niqab on? Again, another issue. A show off. It's a show. And then exposing of the satar, exposing of the body shapes, having selfies, and for the whole world to stare and glare. And the clothing is breaking the rules of haya and modesty. Interacting with strange men. Is this what hijab should be? Is this what Islam promotes hijab? So Battal has seen this, and they're proud about it, and non-Muslim ladies join in. Why is Battal happy about it? Because it's part of their agenda. They want, it's a beginning, and it's endorsing, and it's making anybody who's in niqab, it's like something wrong with you. Look, these are all Muslimun, mashallah, they look so beautiful, mashallah. So these are traps laid by Iblis. It's all part of the satanic Dajjali system. And then once a year you must wear your hijab. It's okay, like once a year you got a mother, make her happy. Once a year you got a father, make him happy. Once a year you got women around them. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Woman Day, add it on. Hijab Day, birthday, you were born. You're not going to die, you're going to live forever. So don't think of death, don't think of akhirat. All these celebrations. Haya is the way you dress, the clothing of modesty. Haya is what you watch, what you read, what you look at. Haya is what you say, the type of words, the way you speak it. Haya is how you treat others. Haya is the type of friends you choose. Haya is the places that you go to. Haya is the type of food that you eat. Haya is what you do. Haya is an embodiment of many qualities and sifat. Al-haya shu'batun min al-iman. Allama Shamsuddin has mentioned, the Prophet has specifically identified this quality min khisal al-iman wa khassaha bil-dhikri duna ghayriha, and he's mentioned this here because haya is a da'i. It promotes every other shu'bah of deen. And a person who has haya, he will fear disgrace in dunya and akhirah, and that is a rebuke, and it will revive the rest of iman. Haya is this quality. And this hadith, inna mimma adraka an-nas min kalam an-nubuwwati al-ula, Allama Ibn Qayyim has mentioned that Haya Allah has created min afdhalil akhlaq wa ajalliha wa a'zamiha. This is amongst the epitome of character and a climax of good qualities, and it's a salient feature or khasa, a trait of humanity. فَمَنْ لَا حَيَاءَ فِيهِ فَلَيْسَ مَعُهُ مِنَ الْإِنسَانِيَّةِ. Whoever doesn't have this modesty is not a human being, except his skin, his bones, his external, and there's no goodness in him. Ibn Battal has mentioned, Al-haya la ya'ti illa bi khair, that a person who has this modesty, he wouldn't want to break one command, because this will prevent him, this haya will prevent him from breaking any commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he knows Allah is Nafi, Ad-Dar, Al-Razik, Al-Muhi, Al-Mumit, and he will have haya of this Khaliq. Allama Ibn Hajar has mentioned, إِذَا صَارَ الْحَيَاءَ عَادَةً, when haya has become a trait in people, and a person makes effort to inculcate it, then yakunu sababan, it will be a cause to draw goodness, min al-khair bi-that was-sabab, in all aspect. And haya is a intrinsic quality which is natural. Al-haya khairun kullu, there's only goodness in haya, there's only goodness in this modesty. So having haya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, istahyu min Allahi haqqa al-haya, that have haya of Allah how you should be. Ya Rasulullah, inna lanasti wa alhamdulillah, we got no. What is haya? An tahfadh ra's wa ma wa'a, that the head and whatever it contains, wa tahfadh al-batan wa ma hawa, to protect the inside and what it includes, wa tadhakkar al-maut wal-bila, to remember death and the trials, wa man arad al-akhirah taraka zinat ad-dunya, whoever intends the hereafter will leave the adornments of the world. فَمَنْ فَعَلَ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ اسْتَحْيَا مِنَ اللَّهِ حَقَّ الْحَيَاءِ. When you do this, you fulfill the requirements of haya and modesty how it should be. And that's why Allama Ibn Qayyim has mentioned in Madarij al-Salikin that there's 10 levels of haya. Haya'ul jinaya, the haya of the guilt. Adam alayhi salam committed the error, the clothing was removed, they covered themselves, but out of haya from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Adam alayhi salam committed this guna, that guilt that I did. Adam alayhi salatu salam committed this error. He committed this error. Anbiya alayhi salatu salam are ma'asum of committing guna, sins, but he made this error, and on this error he had this guilt. How much haya should we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Haya taqseer, the haya of inaptitude. The angels from the creation till the end, they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but still when they resurrect in the day of Qiyamah, ma abnaka haqqa ibadatik. Ya Allah, we've not worshipped you how you've worshipped. So the guilt, we didn't fulfill the haqq. Haya'ul ijlal, the haya of awe, that the haya of being acquainted with this greatness of Allah. And as you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the haya increases, that you not have recognized Allah. Haya'ul karam, the haya of generosity. So when people were invited to the nikah of Nabi alayhi salam and people overstayed, he was too shy. So Nabi alayhi salam just left. Then the haya of chastity. When Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu wanted to ask the masla about washing away the semen, he had this haya to even ask the question. Then haya'ul istihqad, the haya of humility, that a person knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be humble. Haya'ul mahabba, the haya of love, where a lover loves his beloved, and this type of haya of love will overpower everything else, where you don't want the beloved to be upset with you. And haya'ul ubudiyya, servitude, where a person has this haya to serve. When you recognize Allah, you will want to serve Him. Haya'ul sharaf wal izzah, the haya of dignity and izzah, nobility. And the last one, haya'ul maru min nafsihi, the haya of oneself, where a person detects their own deficiencies, their own flaws, and you are ashamed of yourself, and you'll try your best to make sure you compensate for this. So by exposing ourselves, we risk in our akhirat, and the men that gaze, we risk in their akhirat as well. Ibn Qayyim has mentioned about in mu'adhin in Egypt, we was paband with the adhan, salah, looking after the masjid. He was the abid. One day he was going to go give adhan, and at the base of the minarah there was a Christian woman standing. So when he saw her, he was seduced by her beauty. He didn't give the adhan, he went down, followed her, came to her house, and when he knocked on the door, "Who are you? What do you want?" He said, "I want you." "Why?" He said, "You've enslaved my eyes, you've captured my heart." So she said, "I will never answer to your desires. I won't give in to you." He said, "No, I'll marry you. It is legal way." She said, "You are Muslim, I'm Christian. My father will never allow me to marry you." He said, "I'll become Christian." She said, "If you wish so, go ahead." So he became Christian to marry her, and he was preparing to marry her at the end of the day. And while he was busy doing his preparation for the home where the bride will come, he was busy on the roof of the house. He fell from the roof and passed away without iman and without his bride. So he lost deen and he lost the woman, both nuksans. So we have to be very, very, very cautious, and we need to see which direction we are going towards, and what will the end result be. Battal will try their best to strip us of this modesty. We need to draw the line. The amal for today is try to make it for the first saf. لو يعلم الناس ما في النداء والصف الأول. If people knew the value of the adhan and the first saf and the only thing they were able to do is to draw lots. That they would even draw lots. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.